once you gain some consciousness and it start hitting you start to change, you know what I mean, and understanding things. And I got a daughter too. That's what helped me change, because I was looking at the pictures of her and she looked just like me, and I'm like, and I start thinking about my life and all the pain and stuff that I went through. I'm like, I don't want her to have to go through that.
Right.
So in order for her not to go through that, I got to make myself better so that I can be better for her, so I can teach her better so she can be better.
That was motivational speaker Uncle Damien. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco. Every week on this podcast, you'll hear from community leaders, musicians, bartenders, and San Franciscans from all walks of life, telling stories, sharing personal histories, and trying to put into words what makes this city so special. Welcome to episode 38, part 2. In part 1, Damien spoke of his life leading up to his becoming Uncle Damien. In this podcast, he talks more about that transformation, his inspirations and influences, and his love for San Francisco. Here's Uncle Damien.
But before I became Uncle Damien, I, this is all public knowledge, and I'm not trying to glorify anything that I did before I changed my life, because it was definitely some acts of a young man that didn't have a father, didn't have proper guidance and mentorship, and when some did come his way, he didn't know how to incorporate it into his life properly, because I give pay a lot of homage to Jack Jackwell from Omega Boys Club. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. He's been doing a lot of work in the community with young boys, especially coming through juvenile hall, and the guests that he had brought up to the community meetings that we had. I pay homage to them. But in the totality, there wasn't no one around guiding us in a proper manner. It was young people, the blind leading the blind. And if we did have some older people that was telling us to do bad stuff, like I had lived in Sunnydale. Well, actually, I didn't even live in Sunnydale. I had ran away and was living in Sunnydale in a Dauphine house. Dauphine is a crack user person, you know what I mean? And another young pimp dude named Smurf. I used to stay at both of those houses, but I used to sell drugs for this other drug dealer named Duty. He's dead now, but I was like, real young at that time. So those guys were like misguiding us, telling us to do bad stuff. Like,
and you said they were older, right?
They were definitely older.
Of course, you look up to them and you do what they say.
Yeah. Duty was like balling, always had money. He had a nice car, which it was an old school car, box shed with beat in it, with music, you know what I mean? So, we was attracted to it. He used to have a bunch of kids in there. Now thinking back, like, I was like, this dude's a horrible individual.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why was he doing that? But it's kind of like, but at the same time, same token, believe it or not, I use some of his tactics now to help guide the kids in the right direction. Like, I have a bunch of kids with me, and we be listening to me, we be chilling, but I'm not telling them to do nothing bad. I'm telling them to do something positive and helping them and guiding them and, connecting them with other positive mentors and stuff of that nature, So we had did a lot of that, so I wasn't in the house. Like, me and my mom were talking about this a little while ago, and because, sometimes I'd be like, well, we never did this, and you never did that. Not like bashing or anything, but saying it. But she was like, you was never home, so we couldn't never do nothing, because when once we had went through some time where she was going through what she was going through, and I was going through, and once I got a real taste of the streets per se, it's like I was caught up in it.
Yeah.
I caught up in it. I was just caught up in the vicious cycle, and it just kept going, and a lot of in and out of juvenile hall. They know me just as well as my family know me. From,
you mean like today when you go there?
Today. If there are people that have been there for a while, and then, I went to Glenwood, which is the boys' ranch for San Mateo County, because my grandparents lived in Daly City, and sometimes that was like our permanent address. Like that was the address you put down on the papers and stuff
Where
like that.
the mail came.
Right, exactly, where the mail came. But we moved around a little bit, But so that was like my county. So like, I had gotten in trouble. And plus I used to get in trouble in David City. They sent me to their boys' ranch. I did that, got out of there. Ended up getting in trouble some more. Did a couple stints in Hillcrest, Juvenile Hall. Spent a lot of time in YGC Youth Guidance Center, Juvenile Hall. I went to the boys' ranch that they have, the San Francisco Log Cabin. About 3-4 different group homes. I went to Guadalupe Home for Boys in LA, and eventually ended up going to the Youth Authority, and then Jack Jacqua helped me to get to a place called Glen Mills School for Boys on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. And I was going there, and I was doing cool. I did that program. I was there for about like 2 years, give or take.
Still a teenager, or?
Yeah. I left from there when I was like 18 and some change.
Okay.
18 and some change and everything. A few little things. Then I ended up getting back in trouble again.
Out there or back here?
No, back here, back in the city. Ended up getting into trouble again. And I started just being back in the streets, selling drugs, messing with guns, doing things, and end up leading to me being given a 10-year sentence to federal prison. So I ended up doing 10 years in federal prison.
Wow.
And, while I was doing that time, I started to change. I met some people, I was reading some books, and I was really like, I'm kind of being modest. Like I said, I don't like to glorify that life, but I was kind of like one of them dudes in the streets, people looked up to. I had a few little flashy things. I knew a lot of people from being around. Like when you're locked up, you meet a lot of people. So it's like I knew a lot of people in the city from being in juvenile hall and in these group homes and stuff. So when I got out, I wouldn't visit them. So I go all over. So it's kind of like I represent Hunters Point, you know what I mean? But I'm really like a city boy. Like I go all over the city. I bought a Hyundai when I was 13. It had 2 tens up to a Walkman, so I was driving. I used to go to different
13.
hoods. Oh yeah, I had a whip, and so I know a lot of people, so I can go everywhere. So I'm like Hunters Point. Like I went to school, middle school right over here down the street from where we at Roosevelt, So I got a lot of ties at a lot of different places, so I could go all around, So like when people were coming to prison, they were quote unquote happy to see me, and I was happy to see them. But it started clicking. I'm like, why are we so happy, man? We're in prison. We're not supposed to be here. And then I had joined the Nation of Islam for a minute. I'm not in the Nation anymore, even though I pay homage to the Nation for helping to spark some change in me and bring me some enlightenment. The Nation helped me realize that I needed to forgive my mother. My mother was on drugs for a little bit and did some things, and maybe not like I said, she made some decisions that she probably wouldn't make today.
Right.
Like we all have.
We all grow.
And but I love my mom to death, and so while I was there, I started reading, and then I helped create a program called Start Taking Alternative Routes Today. It's kind of like Scared Straight, but not so scared. We convinced the city of Lompoc, where I was at, to bring the kids up from the group homes and the juvenile halls up for me to talk to them, and we started talking to them. Then we created a panel, and it was other individuals like myself who've been in jail and been through some things, and we're like telling these kids to not, do the things that we've done. And I became pen pals with a lot of the kids and stuff like that, and achieved a certain level of success and help with the youth, to where the parents were writing me and thanking me in the schools and stuff like that. And I had got an award from the city of Lompoc while I was in prison, so, and I realized like I could make a difference. My voice really could make a difference. I could really help some people. And I started like talking to the other young kids that were coming to the jail, like not the kids, but like some of my little young homies that were getting locked up. Starting to tell them like, man, this ain't the, start teaching them some different stuff, awakening their minds as I was awakening mine, because, it's like, like I was kid, and with learning, I was kid and mentality. I might have been in my 20s, but, like when you learn some stuff and you happy about it, you want to hurry up and tell somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, like, look at what I learned. Like, you need to learn this too. So I was teaching other people a lot of stuff.
Would you say you were finding a new purpose
At that time
for yourself? Yeah. Did you already kind of realize that, like a new direction? You're like, I can turn my experiences of making bad decisions into.
And that's how I looked at it, like, how I can use the pain that I went through to try to help some other people so they ain't got to go through that. Because, I don't put a whole lot of emphasis on it because I don't be looking for no sympathy or whatnot. But I dealt with a lot of pain myself, a lot of trauma, just from being around, from seeing some of the things I've seen, doing some of the things I've done that I'm not happy about, And that's another thing people don't talk about a lot. And I don't even talk about it a lot. But once you come into consciousness, it's like something hits you. Like, you now you know better. Like, you always knew better, but then you realize, like, oh, that was terrible. Like, you know what I'm saying, what I did, and like that hits you. And it's part of my PTSD, that I have.
And then it hits you, but then you have to practice it. Whatever it is you learn, right? The realization. Then you have to start practicing.
Right, that's true too. But I'm talking about hitting me like, let's say one day you think that hitting the old lady over her head and taking her money is not bad. It's not wrong. But then the next day you find out like that's the worst thing you could ever do in your life. Then you have that realization that hits you like, oh my God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do that, but I'm just saying, for example, like I've sold drugs to my own people. And then when you realize that, selling drugs to your own people is destroying your people. You know what I'm saying? It's making it worse. Like, I was upset with my mother for doing drugs, but I sold drugs. You know what I mean? If I was a real good son, I would have went and got my mama like, come on, Mom, let me take you to this rehab and try to help you be better instead of demonizing her and ridiculing her or whatever, or being upset. You know what I mean? Be a good son, stay home, handle your business, and help your family fight through it instead of going out into the streets and adding to the problem.
Perpetuate.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But once you realize that, like, that's something heavy, like you got to, I cry behind that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I still, it weighs heavy on my shoulders to today. We're getting all off the point in San Francisco.
That's fine.
But
it's about you.
It's like I think about that. Like, I could have been. You see, I'm a big guy. Like, shit, man, I could have been in the NFL. I could have been playing. I could have, my mom's 60 now. You know what I mean? Or close. She's like 57. You know what I mean? I could have made our lives so much better, and in turn, I made it worse. And that's something heavy on you. Like, once you realize, once you gain some consciousness and it start hitting you, start to change, you know what I mean, and understanding things. And I got a daughter too. That's what helped me change, because I was looking at the pictures of her, and and she looked just like me, and I'm like, and I start thinking about my life and all the pain and stuff that I went through. I'm like, I don't want her to have to go through that.
Right.
So in order for her not to go through that, I got to make myself better so that I can be better for her, so I can teach her better, so she can be better.
So when did you actually, like, where did the name come from?
Which name?
Uncle Damien. Did it come from you or other people?
It came from the youth, but I want to credit it to the great Rudy Corpus at United Players, who's an organization in San Francisco that does great things in the Soma community against violent prevention and helping the youth. And so he had been doing his work for a long time. And a lot of kids call him Uncle Rudy. And I fell in. I was one of those guys, so they just started calling me Uncle Damien, and it just stuck. And I felt that. I was like, I'm Unc. You know what I mean? So when I came home, of course, I just did a 10-year prison sentence for, being ex-felon in possession of a firearm, discharging a firearm in a public place. So it's probably not that likely that I would get hired at a youth center.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah, let's get this criminal working with the kids right now, fresh out of prison. You know what I mean? So I actually volunteered at the Procedure Center for like a month before, because that's how I just give me opportunity. I went to a few different places and I got that reaction like, no, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I had a bad taste in my mouth. Like, okay, that's cool. You did some stuff while you were locked up, but it's different because a lot of people could do, be saints while they're in prison. As soon as they hit the bricks, they forget. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it happens a lot. And and a lot of kids there were like, you know, start calling me Unc just by default, you know, because I was playing that role, so it came naturally. But when I got to United Players, it just really stuck, and it just like, you know, Uncle Damien.
And then when did you realize that you wanted to do Uncle Damien Speaks? Like, when did you realize you wanted to turn that corner and actually work with youth?
So, I mean,
How did that all come about?
I knew I wanted to work with youth when I was in prison. You talking about like work with youth, or like as far as my speaking platform?
Speaking platform. Uncle Damien Speaks is what it's called, right?
Right. Uncle Damien Speaks. Follow me, Instagram, all social media platforms.
Okay.
The Once a Monster Now Mentor podcast coming. But so I this is what I wanted. I knew that, well, not to be too hard on myself, but I don't have a whole lot of talents. You know what I mean? It's not a whole lot of stuff that I know how to do. Like I said, I never had a father or a real uncle, so I'm not very handy. I don't know how to build stuff. I don't know how to paint. I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to do nothing but run my mouth.
Yeah, there you go.
Per se.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could learn some stuff. I'm not stupid. I could figure it out if I need to, but I haven't really been doing anything all my life except for running my mouth, you know.
But speaking, I mean, you said speaking is a talent.
Speaking is
Not
a talent
everyone
now,
can do it.
but I did not know that.
Right.
I did not know that it was a real thing until somebody had sent me a clip of someone on Instagram, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I'm not. I want to check it out, though.
You need to check him out. He's the biggest motivational speaker in the world now. Eric Thomas. They sent me a clip of him just going off. Like, you know, and he looked like me, had his hat on and everything, and I was like, that's dope. And I started, like, following his movement, you know, but you don't really think about it as, like, a career or stuff like that unless you're on that level, and I'm not knowing there was a lot of people. So I started following Eric Thomas and really watching his videos.
How long ago was that?
Oh, what is this, 2019?
You said Instagram, so it can't like 5 years?
Yeah, maybe not even for the beginning of Instagram, but it's like probably like 3-4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe right, give or take. And now, mind you, I came home in 2011, and I was doing that already. Mm-hmm. Like, they had me, once they realized, like, okay, he's a trustworthy individual. He's not coming trying to be sneaky and work with the kids and do something behind closed doors. And, you know, I wiggle my way in to speak in. And, like, I was volunteering at the community center. So I would just get the kids together and just, like, talk to them. You know what I mean? And then other people, adults who were hearing, like, okay, like, he's got a good message. So start doing that. Then I ended up going down there working with United Players. Rudy heard me speak, and he started having me colleges, schools, community center, all kind of places just speaking. And that's what I wanted to do because I wanted to get my message out there. I wanted the kids to understand, like, hey, man, look, I grew up in the hood, too. I've been shot. I've been all this kind of stuff. No daddy, mom on drugs. But at the same time, same token, it's up to you to make better decisions for your life. You can do it. There's other people who have done it, so you can do it too. Yep. You know what I mean? That life is not the way you should be going. You know what I mean? The gangster life and all that kind of stuff. So I was doing it already. And then when I found Eric Thomas, and, you know, I had went to one of his seminars, and we actually connected.
Oh, cool.
And he rocked with me. You know, he's the biggest motivational speaker in the world.
Where's he from?
He's from Detroit.
Okay.
Chicago, Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually so good, and just like you, he checked out some of my stuff, and he invited me to come speak with him in Las Vegas.
Cool.
Spoke in front of 3,000 kids and stuff like that. So, you know, at two different venues, you know, and so now I was like, I could do this. I could do this on a grand scale and help more people, you know, but.
You had an inspiration. You had an example. Right? In Rudy and in
exactly.
Eric Thomas.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of the thing that you're trying to be now for people.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, not trying to be the thing that you are for people.
Exactly. Right. Just some point. And it was like right in front of me. Yeah. And it's like, I got his number. I can text him right now. Eric Thomas, the biggest motivational speaker in the world. He's accessible.
Text him and tell him we said, hey, what's up?
Right. Right. I can. you know, and so that's what, to answer your question, that's what made me want to do the Uncle Damien Speaks part of it. And the Speaks came in, like I hadn't really figured out a name until I met an individual named Leon Ford. And his Instagram is Leon Ford Speaks. He's also a motivational speaker. He's an inspirational speaker. He was shot and paralyzed, you know, but he doesn't want anybody to feel sorry for him, you know, and he's used his story to inspire people and make them better. And, you know, I met him when I was on a conference thing in Chicago because I got the People's Champ Award from an organization called Breakout, the Breakout Foundation. They champion people who do great things in the community. So I was awarded the People's Champ Award because they put it out there for a vote, and the people voted for me, you know, from the work that I was doing in the community.
That's got to feel good.
Man, it was a blessing, man. It felt better than anything that I've ever achieved to this day right now.
That's awesome.
You know, and because it wasn't just like, you know, it's not rigged. There's nowhere like, you know, like people have to vote for you. The real people have to vote for you. And they gave me some money. They gave me some money.
That doesn't hurt.
Right, yeah, they gave me some money, but I gave it all back to the people, though.
Nice.
I gave it all back to the people. They gave me like $2,500. I did a homeless feed with it because I'm the vice chairman of an organization called The City Eats. We feed the homeless every first Saturday of the month in San Francisco with another sponsored event in the middle of the month. So we try to do 2 homeless feeds in San Francisco. If you've been to San Francisco, you know we have a homeless epidemic out here. Like, you know, it's ridiculous, man. Like, and it's so sad. And I've been homeless myself in my younger days. I've slept on some benches. Like I said, I've slept on some bandos. That's abandoned buildings for my unebonic people.
I picked up on that earlier.
Right.
I got it.
Right. And I've been hungry on the streets by, you know, so I understand. So it's near and dear to my heart. And plus, I love San Francisco with every inch of my being. Like, I love San Francisco. Just the essence of it all, you know, from the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything about it. I just love it. I don't know, 7 by 7 square miles. I wouldn't want to be nowhere else. You know what I mean?
And I think that's a good setup for something I have to talk about, which is
Please.
The San Francisco premiere of The Last Black Man in San
The
Francisco.
Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Where I finally met you.
Yes, sir.
And just for the listeners who weren't there, I can't remember if I put up a picture of you on our social media.
You need to.
But you were what you were wearing that evening stood out for me very, and it was packed. That area in front of the Castro Theater, it's not very big, but it was packed.
Right.
It was chaotic, and it was like shining moment out of the blue. This dude walks up wearing a head to toe Muni transfers.
Yeah,
Muni ticket, head to toe.
Shout out to Joseph Silva, who it's funny story real quick since we talking about stories. You know, you like it. So that outfit that I got is by a group called Certified True, which I'm a business partner in. Certified True. Shout out to Joseph Silva. Joseph Silva is also a San Francisco native who was also the first individual that gave me opportunity. He ran the Safe Haven where I volunteered at first. He was willing to give me an opportunity to get back to the kids because they had to get his okay because it was his program. He wasn't the director of Mission Neighborhood Centers, but that was the Precita Center. That was his safe haven. He had a studio back there, and he had run that with the kids, and they brought me in there, and he didn't know me from Adam. And I just talked to him. I was just like, man, just give me a chance to work these kids, man. Sure, I do whatever you want me to do. Just be your assistant. Of course, that's good. Get some free labor. You know what I mean? But he gave me a chance, and me and him ended up becoming great friends. But he's an awesome graphic designer as well. So he made that hoodie. So what I had on was a hoodie, a transfer hoodie, a Muni transfer hoodie. If you're from San Francisco, you remember them transfers, them late nights and all that.
But it wasn't just like a T-shirt. It was like covered.
Right. So it was covered as a hoodie. But I also, because I got a lot of swag, so I had the Muni transfer hoodie, and I also had the SF Muni outfit on, which is a brown and orange outfit,
like a
with
jumpsuit.
The Frisco letter jumpsuit. Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's good. That's actually what it's called, jumpsuit.
Yeah.
So I was
But
Frisco fresh. I thought it was appropriate for the last black man in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
Plus, I wasn't officially in the movie, so I had to stand out next to them awesome movie stars. All my nephews, that were in there, man.
Yeah.
Jamal True Love, Stunderman 02, Gunna Goes Global. All my guys, Willie Hen. The guys were all phenomenal, man. My nephew Von P. Say Hey Kid, man. It was all my guys. And all those guys are good dudes, man, trying to do something good for the community. That's what made it great, man. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Joe. Them guys is phenomenal and represented the city amazingly.
Absolutely. No rush or pressure, but you got to tell all of them to come on our podcast.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
You know how cool it is and how good it feels to
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they'll be ready to.
Yeah. So for us, I didn't know those guys when we went to see that movie. And so, I knew some people by looking them up on the internet, whatever. When I saw you, it didn't matter to me that you weren't in the movie.
Right.
I didn't know you weren't in the movie, but I was just like, who is this? I got to know this dude.
That's a blessing. A blessing.
That was cool. And I'm glad we connected, man.
Yeah, I'm glad too, man. Appreciate you inviting me on the podcast, man. It's an honor for me. Anytime I get a chance to share my testimony or support anybody doing something positive, especially in the city, I'm with it.
Awesome. All right. I think we'll end there.
Yeah, that's good.
Unless you got more stuff to talk, we can be here.
I could talk forever, but time is of the essence, man. I just want to make sure everybody that you support this podcast, man. Learn about the city. If you've never been to San Francisco, come out here. Don't leave anything in your car. They breaking into cars like crazy out here, but it's a beautiful city, man. The bridges are amazing, and we're just trying to make it better for everyone, man. Even where everybody, man, the quote-unquote gentrifiers, man, the tech and everything, man, has to evolve. Just include us, man. That's all we're saying. If there's anybody listening who has some power, I'm not saying don't come. I'm just saying just include us. You know what I mean? That's why the equity program is so important, the cannabis equity program. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I'd school you about that offline.
All right, cool.
I got you on that. Okay. And man, make sure you check out that Last Black Man in San Francisco. Make sure you check out that Once a Monster Now Mentor podcast coming soon.
Okay.
Trying to be like you when I grow up, man. You know what I mean?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Uncle Damien.
So much.
That was Uncle Damien. Check back next week when we'll hear from San Francisco archivist Susan Goldstein. Music for the podcast is by Otis McDonald. Film photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. Find all 80-plus episodes on our website, storiedsf.com. And while you're there, you can also help support this project by going to our store page and checking out the different pledge levels. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date on everything we do. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review the show for us. And if you have ideas for who should be on the podcast, our email is storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for listening.